So, on today's community story, I interviewed Sandra Noel from Northwest Territories, Canada, Yellowknife. She was not, she did not age out of foster care. She was actually adopted. But, sometimes we tend to think that those who are adopted have it rosy and just a perfect happy ending after all. And that's just not always the case. So, Sandra Noel tells about some of the struggles that she had growing up even after being adopted. So I'll let you hear more from her right now.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Sandra Noel. I was in care for about 9 years in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, Canada. Um, I was adopted and I'm married, no kids, and just want to, share my experience, strength, and hope.
That sounds wonderful. So, close to your adopted family still?
Yes. Yeah.
Good, 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 good. So tell me, how did it start for you? How did
Well,
it care? Yeah.
how did I get into care?
Yeah.
In well, I got my like my foster care record 1999. We just moved to Yellowknife, and my mom was, drinking a lot and stuff, so she was neglecting me there, and so I would have a relative come and babysit. So I was being abused by him and neglected and stuff, and then I finally told my friend who told me to tell like our teacher or someone, and so I did. And so it all started on June 17th, 1999. Like
How old were you?
I was 10. Yeah.
You were 10. Okay.
Yes.
So how long was this going on for?
The abuse,
Yeah. And
um
neglect and yeah.
definitely a little while. I'm not quite sure exactly how long, but it happened multiple times. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely a little while. Even like in my records, there's the interview I did with the police about, about the abuse and stuff. And that's like one of the hardest things in my records to read and look back.
Right. Did you just recently get your records?
Yeah, like last year. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
last year I started getting them. So
Um, so are you an only child or do you have siblings?
no, yeah, I have siblings. I have two biological sisters, and then on my adopted side, I have two sisters and one brother.
Okay. And are you where do you fall in the age group there?
I'm middle of both.
Middle of both.
Yes.
So what happened to your younger biological siblings?
A funny story is my biological siblings, our sisters,
Can you pause
we
for just
didn't. So yeah, with my biological sisters, we actually didn't even get into contact with each other until 2007.
okay.
But my grandpa was in contact with my sisters pretty much the whole time, like they were growing up and stuff. And and so before he passed away, he made sure we all got in contact with each other. And then shortly after, he passed away, like a month later or so. Like it wasn't very long after that he passed away. So
So were you close to him then?
yes, yeah. I growing up, I lived in the same town that he that I'm from and stuff. So,
Okay.
he would walk me to school and stuff. Yeah, it was really nice
So
having
did
him.
he knew your adoptive family then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
My biological mom and my adopted mom were in residential school together, and my adopted mom didn't even know that that was my mom, my biological mom,
Okay.
until a little while later. And so she says, my friend left me a gift.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. So when did you come to live with these people, and were they this first home that you lived with?
Yeah, so yeah, they took me home right away, I think from the hospital, and fostered me for a little while, and then they adopted me
Oh,
pretty soon after, having me in their care.
okay.
And yeah, so
And
they're the
are they indigenous?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yep,
Okay. You're indigenous, I'm assuming, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay. So tell me, like, what was the hardest thing? Well, first with living with your mom.
The hardest thing living with my mom
Yeah.
was, her drinking and partying and, neglecting me and my siblings.
Yeah. And you were the first one to leave?
So, Sandra, tell me about your experience in your multiple different homes.
Um, the first home was with my auntie, and it was good, but not good in certain ways. There was a point where my brother had to, well, yeah, he, wanted to help me get out of there because of the like verbal abuse that was going on, I guess. And she was partying and stuff. She always had people over there, and I was used to it. I didn't care
You were
really, but
only
it
about
was,
10? You were only about 10 years old?
yeah, 10, 11, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, my brother stepped in and helped me get out of there, and then I went from my auntie's to my friends, my friend's family, I guess. But they're, yeah, it was really good there, but um, yeah, it's weird. Like I went kind of back and forth between like my auntie and the Max, um, because of like all the different stuff that was going on in the homes. Like the partying with my auntie, I got out of there, went to the Max. I was abused 2 different times with the Max, so I went back to my auntie's after one of them, I think, and then I went back to the Max. It was just
So were
back
these
and
your
forth.
choices or was it social workers? Were they advocating? Did you have anyone to advocate for you?
Not really. My social workers, I guess, were my advocates. There's no advocate up here for kids in youth care, which is something I would love to like look into getting.
So there's no
It's
CASA program?
no, there's a foster family coalition. It's called. It's like to support foster families and adoptions and stuff. But yeah, it's not really anything for, yeah, like the director would advocate for kids and stuff, but she's not like an advocate. So
So
there's
you didn't
that's
have, um, so who helped you? One question that I always like to ask people is, who was your one person who helped you?
um my one of my social workers. She's not a social worker anymore, but she, really, she was my person. She really cared. She really made sure I was okay. She would listen. She would, go out of her way to make sure, I got the help I needed and that I was taken care of well. She always encouraged me and everything. At one point, she even wanted to adopt me herself, but that couldn't happen, of course. Conflict of interest and all.
So how long did you have her?
Um, at least a couple years. I'd have to look in my records again, but yeah, it was one of the longer term workers I had.
Did you have a lot of social workers then?
Yeah, at least, um, yeah, at least probably 6 to 10 or more. I'm not sure because all the names are blacked out again, right? Like they're
Right.
redacted. Oh, yep, I had quite a few.
So in the homes that you lived in, what are some of the good memories that you have?
My last foster home was awesome. Also like living with my auntie and my best friend and the Max were good because I chose them. But life happened. So with Karen is her name, and I can't disclose anymore with
Sure,
about her
yeah.
because she still fosters. So
Okay.
yeah, I lived with her for I think like 2 years, and yeah, I was already like rebelling and everything by the time I got to living with her. So the first about year or so, I was acting out, I was running away, I was, just not being respectful toward her. And it's not like it wasn't her fault or anything. It was just I was angry. And but there was a point where calmed down a little, and she went to church, so she encouraged me to go to church with her. So I went, I eventually went to church with her, and I had one of the best summers of my life living with her. I came to know the Lord when I was living with her. I was involved in like the youth group with the church, and um, it was just amazing. I loved living there. After that, well, even before that, it's just I was angry, so it's not her fault or anything. But yeah, she was amazing, and she's one of the people that I wish I would have found sooner, that I could have lived with. Um, and yeah, we're still in touch and stuff. And yeah, I just love her to pieces, and I really appreciate her and all that she did for me while I was in her care.
So would you say that finding church, finding faith was your turning point?
Yeah, it was one. Yeah, it was my turning point. Yeah, for sure. It was in care. Yeah, that was a good turning point. It was pretty much one of the only ones I can think of, like as a good turning point. And for my time in care was, yeah, like going to church and finding faith and living with her.
So, and is
Yeah.
that something that you've continued on with? You're a person of faith now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's changed since then, but yeah, it's
As
you
it
know,
does, right? I mean, I
yeah.
tend to think that faith is, uh, I think it was Langston Hughes who said that faith is in an envelope, and in an envelope marked private, God sent me a letter. And I think that's kind of it. Like, we have these ideas and we think we have all the right answers. And then as
Hmm.
we grow up, we're like, oh, well, maybe I feel a little differently about this one. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it evolves. Yeah.
right. Um, so so at 19, you moved in with your boyfriend, and you guys are you newlyweds, or you don't seem
No,
very
we've
much?
been married since 2011.
Okay, so
Yeah.
uh, but newlyweds is usually 4 years, so yeah, you're a little over that.
Yeah.
So, tell me if there's something that you could tell your younger self. What would you tell? What would you say?
Mm. Um, oh wow. Yeah, that's a good question. What would I tell my younger self? Don't give up, keep advocating for yourself. Use your voice, because I did use it. Like yeah, looking back at my records, I saw how much, like how I actually did try to advocate for myself, especially with like that letter saying I wanted to move. Um, so yeah, it was like I would say advocate, use your voice, don't give up, and reach out. Don't live in silence, and that
And
you're not
mm,
alone.
when you wrote the letter about wanting to move, was that because you were angry, or was this just really not a good home?
It was because I was angry. It was strict, and I wasn't used to the rules and stuff. There was no abuse or anything. It was just I wasn't used to it, like the strict rules
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Do you think you could
Yeah,
have learned anything from that home, looking back?
probably, probably, yeah. If I would have gave in a little or followed some of the rules, maybe it would have turned out a little differently, but maybe not. I don't know.
So what are your biggest regrets?
One of the biggest regrets is in my teenage years, I had the chance to go back and live with my mom. And yeah, she, um, she's, like got her life together and stuff
That's
eventually.
great. Yeah.
Um, and so I think I was probably in grade 11 or 12, and they asked if I wanted to go back and live with her. But I would have had to move, I think. And so I said no. I said, no, Mom, and I was confused about it for sure because one part of me wanted to, but then another part of me said no. Like, the bigger part of me said no because I felt like she, yeah, she might change and stuff, but it was like I was still wary of her, of how she was and all the like broken promises she used to make. And I didn't think that she, changed all that much or enough for me to want to live with her again. So
And so that's a regret. You wish that you would have went back.
I think so, yeah. Like I feel guilty about, saying no, but it was my choice.
It was
And
also a
I
way of protecting yourself, right? I mean,
exactly, yeah. I was protecting myself without even knowing it because, you know, I I didn't want to go back and live like we used to, but she did change and she wasn't, doing the same stuff she was when I was younger. But yeah, there was still part of me that was apprehensive, I guess.
and again, so now looking at the situation with your mom now, looking back, do you feel like she's done enough that you would have been safe and well taken care of, or
Yeah, I think so. I think, she did change enough and she wasn't drinking and stuff like that, like she used to. She was working, she had a boyfriend. Yeah, she seemed way more stable. So yeah, I think I would have been fine if I went and lived with her again, but I was happy where I was. I didn't feel like I wanted to uproot my life again,
right?
even if it was to go live with my mom again.
What I'm seeing, because other people are only going to be hearing this, but what I'm
Mhm.
seeing in your face, it looks to me like it's something that you feel guilty for. That's the thing, though, is that
Yeah,
you shouldn't feel guilty for a situation that other people put you in the beginning, right? Because
yeah,
that's one of the things that we learn as former foster youth. We can feel guilty for everything that's ever happened to us, but those are things that happen to us. So the only place where it becomes our responsibility, and sometimes it becomes our responsibility too early, like making a high schooler decide where they make that decision. It's too early to have to make those kind of decisions, but that's our kind of lot in life.
yeah,
So yeah, I just want to encourage you to not feel guilty for other people's mistakes, you know and
yes,
even though
thank you.
that's a really hard thing.
Yeah.
um so you would tell your that's what you said you feel the most regret for. But let's take out this thing that you don't need ownership for, okay? Because you
Hmm.
really, it's not yours to own. The reality is that our parents should have done better by us from the very
Yeah,
beginning, and then we wouldn't be in that position of making really hard choices. I made
yeah.
the same choice when I was 11, so I get it.
Hmm.
But take back, so only take the stuff that's your responsibility. So then
Yeah.
if you look back into things that are only your responsibility, what do you wish you would have done differently?
I wish I would have made better choices. Like I wish I didn't act out so much. I was skipping school, I was doing drugs, I was drinking, I was just disrespectful to the people I was living with. I wish I would have treated them better because, it wasn't all their fault that I was angry and hurt so much. Yeah,
What could they have done to what how could do you feel like, looking back again, that people could
mhm,
have supported you? because anger is always going to be the topic. We're always going to run into, we're angry because it is really, really not fair, right?
Yeah.
So what is it? It's a hard question. You like really have to dig. What could people have done to better support you? This is more of a question if some of the listeners are foster parents who are trying to get an inside view of what they could do differently.
I think they all did the best they could, but yeah, just listening and maybe, yeah, like I feel like I could have benefited from more strict rules and with certain people that I lived with, probably like with my auntie. She was pretty like chill, but also not, I guess, in some ways. She let me pretty much come and go, but she did want to know where I was or who I was with. But just things like that. What else could they've done to support me? Yeah, maybe just I feel like more strict would have been better because then I wouldn't have been out doing drugs or drinking. And they did try to help me with that and give me other activities to do like yoga or gymnastics and stuff like that. But I didn't want to take that route.
Right. Because were you able to see a therapist during those times?
Yes, I was going to counseling throughout my
Yeah.
whole time in foster care. Yeah.
And was that helpful or
Yeah, I
kind of?
think so, for sure. Yeah, I think if I didn't get the counseling and help throughout my time, I probably wouldn't be doing as well as I am today.
Right. So what's next for you? What do you want to do?
Um, I'm working with the Foster Family Coalition. I help volunteer there on the Youth and Care Canada board. I'm sober and doing volunteer work that way with the fellowship. So lots of things like that and working. I eventually want to go to college for drug and alcohol counselor, like to become one. Yeah.
So you said that you're sober. So did you have an addiction problem at some point?
Oh yeah, I think like my whole teenage years, I was full blown addicted and stuff. So yeah, it was just in the past like 5 years that I've been trying to stay sober, and yeah, make better choices for myself and not live in the past so much and just try to move forward and be a better person and use my past to help others too.
I totally do.
Yeah.
So what has helped you with staying sober?
I go to AA, so through that I have faith. I've and my faith helps me stay sober. My sponsor. I'm doing like the 12 steps, and I'm going to be sponsoring other people soon, hopefully. And yeah, just doing all that stuff, volunteering and working and staying sober is helping me become the person that God wants me to be.
So, and this is a hard one.
Mm.
What was rock bottom for you?
I think there was more than one rock bottom, like especially with my husband. I think that was like the fear of losing my husband was a big wake up call for me because I was coming home drunk, blacked out, and making him take care of me. All the hangovers, oh, just yeah, not anything I miss. Yeah, that the last like rock bottom I can think of is just feeling so guilty and ashamed of the wasting of money I was doing and all the bad choices I was making while I was drinking and stuff. So yeah, I can't really pinpoint just one, but you can just see all the points along the way to where I got to want to stop, really.
And so and I'm not really familiar with AA, but when you were finished, uh, when you join AA, there's not like social drinking anymore. It's like completely stopping,
Abstinent, yes.
completely abstinent. And is that something that you're in your personal opinion, you think is best for everyone?
Yes, it's best for me. It's best for, yeah, everyone around me. I just, yeah, I don't miss it. I don't miss the blackouts or anything like that.
And do you think that drinking, and did you say drugs as well? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Do you feel like that was a coping device?
definitely. Yeah, it was a bad one, but yeah, it was one that I used for many years.
And like, how old were you when you started drinking?
I'd say 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, how were you able to get alcohol at that age? I'm super naive to this. We don't drink at all, so.
uh, Bootleggers. Yeah,
Okay.
bootleggers. Yeah.
Okay.
Just asking people to go to the store for you. Yeah.
And they just would. And foster parents, they didn't have the rights to take it away, or they just didn't pay attention.
I didn't do it at home. We were always out and about,
Okay.
walking around the city, drinking. Yeah.
How would you, I mean, drugs and alcohol are the coping mechanism of so many people, foster or not foster, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, there's tons of parents right now that are getting drunk because they have to have their kids home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy. The stores are like, you can't find toilet paper, but the alcohol aisle is open. And
Yeah.
just help yourself. So, but it's so hard for our people, because we need to self-medicate or medicate in some way or another, or we need to
Mhm.
deal, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to sort of, make a plea to people and tell them why that, it's not like it's a moral code and it's just like, God wouldn't want you to do this, right? But what are the real benefits of finding healthy ways?
The real benefits of finding healthy ways to cope with life. You feel better about yourself. You treat other people better. You treat yourself better. You just become a better person. Um, what else? I want to go to the financial part of it. Like,
Go
I
ahead.
don't know.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah,
Just tell,
like for
just
me, since I stopped drinking and stuff, I don't waste money on booze or drugs anymore. I have money that doesn't have to go to wasting it on that stuff anymore. Um, what else? Yeah, like it's better. You feel better, you look better, you act better. It's just a good feeling. Yeah, I feel proud of myself today. Whereas if when I was drinking and that, I didn't feel proud of myself. I hated myself. It was just, I was in self-pity mode all the time. Now I don't have to be. I can reach out. I know how to handle life better. So, yeah.
Sandra, that was great. That was super. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I like it totally took a different path than what I was thinking, because I was like, how do I do this one? And this is
Yeah.
really, really, really powerful stuff, because I think that coping is the really hard thing. So is there anything else that you want to say to the audience?
Um, yeah, don't give up. You're not alone. Reach out for help as needed. And I love you even if no one told you today. I do. Thanks.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Wow. My son brought me an eclair.
Oh,
I'm like, that's
nice.
nice. Yeah. Like going to be huge by the time this is
Right?
over. I know.
Uh,
Well, I really, really am grateful that you took the time and that we finally were able to make this happen.
yeah,
And
thank you.
I would really encourage you to make that your platform. Like when you are speaking to people, Don't
Mhm.
just talk about, I mean, really, if you talk about it from that standpoint of being a former addict, I think that's really, really powerful, and that relates to people because so many times people go, "Oh, well, you couldn't possibly understand because you've never walked in my shoes." And when somebody can say, "Actually, I have. I've been
Yeah.
right where you are," then
Yeah.
I think that that resonates a lot more than just some quote unquote expert saying, "Well, statistically, blah, blah, blah." You're
Yeah.
like, I
No.
don't care because you don't know. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.